Bless and love, everybody. You know, I'm jealous that I'm not there because I was looking forward to the dialogue with everybody as, you know, we're continuing to walk out this road of like what this, you know, new world could be, you know. My name is Amaha, sellassie, coming out of Dayton, Ohio. I'm a public sociologist slash scholar, practitioner, and yeah, just decided to learn and to build and to press to the high mark, you know, because the thing that I've been like just seeing lately is that like our power to change the chapter and to change the narrative is completely within our hands, you know. It's like as we bring together our gifts and talents and resources across the earth, you know what I mean, like we can establish more human dignity and acknowledge, you know, our dignity and worth, you know. So
of
yeah,
every human being,
of every human being, you know. So
and all of life.
like my first probably like full action research project would probably be when you know, the maps came out for Dayton that said that Dayton, all the west side, so Dayton's hyper segregated, right? We have 40,000 residents on the west side. That 98% of them are African American, and then we have the east side, which is 98% white with Turkish, Latino, and African refugee community. And so when these maps came out, you know, it said that opportunity for the west side, for the black side, was low and very low, right? And so immediately, you know, it's like so what is the reason behind that? We can look at the redlining maps, right? Because you overlay the redlining maps when it comes to this. And so that was talking about like what is the environment that concentrates advantage and disadvantage, you know. But it still doesn't say like what does it actually mean, you know what I mean? So if I'm living in this area that is low and very low opportunity, what does that mean, you know what I mean? And so like we use action research to go into the community and to ask them, you know what I mean, and like what is opportunity to you and different things, right? And one of the things that came out, I can't remember everything right now, but like was that there was no free after school programs, you know. And so like kids had nothing to do, you know what I mean? There was no access to food, there was excessive access to alcohol, you know, and then people thought that was on purpose, you know what I mean? And they said that like the part that I was in was a public housing complex for at least part of it, and they felt like they were just forgotten, lost, you know what I mean? Like the title of the article was, I think, the land they forgot or something like that, but it was like a direct quote from somebody, you know what I mean? And so it's a sense of abandonment.
It's more of a culture. It's more of a way of dealing with each other individually with respect and honor and support and all the things that we lack outside of a space like this. Is like choosing, you know, to lean in versus shy away, you know. That to me is a culture.
A lot of beautiful interaction and collaboration, you know, with like-minded and non-like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's allowed people to see that we don't have to be the same to find a reason to unite. You know, and that we can create the world we choose to exist in.
Part of it is like it goes down to language, right? Because it's like when we were building the Gem City Market and we changed the language, it changed the container that we was operating in and changed how people saw each other and saw themselves, right? So when we changed from food desert, which was seen as like natural, the food apartheid, right? Then that put us into a space of hope, where it's like, oh, if I have the power to change my lived environment, right, then I'm more willing to put my gifts into the center of the circle, right? So like the more I understand my ability to transform the environment around me, the more hopeful I am. And the more hopeful I am, the more willing I end up putting my gift into the center of the circle. And that's how we build community power.
And reflecting on like my specific journey, I'd say the past 2 years have been like my years of the most growth personally. And I contribute a lot of that to HeArt, as far as I feel like I had a lot of gifts and a lot of things that I had already worked towards building, but I didn't know how to execute them or bring them to life. And being involved in HeArt, I've had nothing but people behind me believing in me every step of the way, telling me to just put my gifts to use and just put them out there. And I feel like I am definitely seeing the benefits of that now, as far as like where I am today versus the first time I walked into HeArt. Much more confident and much more affirmative in the things that I have to offer. And I really have much gratitude for HeArt for allowing me to have that space to grow and explore myself and explore my gifts, as well as have people believe in me that just said, just do it. And so I'm very grateful for that. And I am putting the talking piece down.
Like how do we cultivate in a community that have been more recipients? How do we turn them into co-creators? You know what I mean? How we activate, that switch, that we get the community more in its full space, you know what I mean? And I think education is all of that, right? Because we have to unlearn, right? Because even like when they talk about internalized oppression, right? It's like they say that it brings shame. You know what I mean? Like at the root, you know what I mean? And so it's like, how do we, so all that is education, you know what I mean? About like how we conceive ourselves, you know what I mean? Like, do we see people of color through the lens and imagination of like white oppression, you know what I mean? Or do we see the common dignity like that is inherent in all human beings? You know what I mean? Like all that to me is education, you know what I mean? So that's why I keep coming to it. It's like, oh, I'm doing this work, but actually it's education, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm doing this work, oh, it's education, you know what I mean?
I've been in a few different type of spaces of people trying to do a thing like what the HeArt presents to the community, but people weren't allowed to be authentically who they were in these spaces, and that caused a lot of confusion within itself and allow for a lot of unnecessary explosion, to happen because people aren't operating in their full capacity of who they naturally are and and feeling comfortable to be accepted. So when you find a space like that, it was inspiring. So the HeArt has allowed me to be inspired and knowing that we can create spaces that can help people grow to be who they are and not like a status quo of what people think you should be.
It's just like finding different words different ways that don't offend people that are not of your way of upbringing. I think is a beautiful way to live. Let me see. I said community. I said intentional places. It is a way of life to choose community over a more individualistic society. To me, it reflects a culture in which I can be who I am and show up uncompromised and be attentive enough to see and respect others that show up the same way.
In my practice as a massage therapist, I've been able to listen more. I'm not so moved to like always wanting to give advice. I really let that person, I really, sit and listen and just hold space with people more. I feel like that's something that I have strengthened being a part of the HeArt, because ultimately, sometimes people just need a space to be seen and be heard and just let out what they're feeling, not necessarily trying to be fixed or needing, to be told what to do.
What I see that the energy of the HeArt is community growth and expansion. What is it? In every way that there is. So community growth and expansion within the mind, community growth and expansion within the body, providing healthy foods and exercise and courses and things like that. Community growth and expansion within the spirit with meditation circles that we have, or just in the love shop, how they offer to the divination, stuff like that. So I just feel like it's the fertilizer for growth. That's what I see it as.
That process of like from the mind and thinking through and talking through and dialoguing to like alchemizing, you know, the personal and the collective truths, you know, into like what can we do about it, into agency and power, you know, is like you were talking about that shame, like that's literally healing that shame, you know, on the physical level, physical, emotional, you know, like
it's your inner child. It's remembering your inner child, because when you're a child, you are so creative. You are imagining every step of the way what's happening, you know, and we forget that as an adult. We conform, you know, by default. And so it's that reminder that, hey, we can create again. Like, actually, I don't have to look like this when I'm 30 and have this amount of knowledge and have this white picket fence and this, you know, I don't have to have this dream that was sold to me. Actually, I can just be me and feel comfortable and, you know, and compassionate and graceful enough and loving enough to understand that that is, you know, enough.
Education is also, like, you could say, remembering in a lot of ways. It's unlearning, but it's also remembering at the same time. Right?
Yeah.
So like it's all already there. We're just remembering, you know, the things that maybe shame and fear had like covered up, right? Made a little bit harder for us to access.
The heart to me has been and always will be a reminder of what's possible when you choose to operate from an intentional place.
Around ancient innovation, right? Like leaning on ancient practices and models that, you know, we did not create.
Right, exactly.
But, you know, putting them together in creative and innovative ways to deal with like our current times and our current needs.
Right.
The skills I had kind of picked up there and that I was, you know, YouTubing and was seeing on YouTube's like breath work and meditations and yoga, how to actually do yoga, because in my mind it was just a stretch, but at the heart it taught me how to activate the body, mind, and the spirit with the yoga instead of just going through the motions of the stretch. So,
you know what I'm saying, a place to go and cultivate yourself, build your foundation, and not just like a place. Within, I mean by a place is the body of energy. You know, if somebody was to come to me and talk to me and need something, I would be able to feel and teed, and you know what I'm saying, just cultivate with them as they build with me and feed me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like this circle reaction of reciprocity with growth. That's what I see.
Shout out Dr. Jazz from Kobe D from National Black Buddhist Alliance. She speaks a lot about how like circle is our ancient technology, you know what I mean? Like co-ops are ancient technology. And it's like, you know, like knowing the structures that held people together, you know what I mean? Like that sense of shared identity, shared humanity, solidarity. And it's interesting because, like, you know, we're talking about the almost like the micro and the macro, right? And I think like without the micro, we won't even be able to get to the macro. You know what I mean? And so it's like that work that you do as far as like, you know, having a journal and all these things are like a great way to like to get us into the space that we can think collectively. You know what I mean? Because especially like, you know, science is proving this notion of a social self, you know what I mean, or a social body, or like King would call it a single garment of destiny, you know what I mean? But it's like the more that we're in tune with who we are and our gifts and talents and in that healing journey, the more we're able to show up as a collective, you know what I mean? And so it's like it's like a crucial piece. And then it's probably like a dance, you know what I mean? Then the pleasure can inform the, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it's like,
I feel like it has to be both.
Yeah.
I feel like it has to be both. And
there's been some beautiful births all across the heart, you know, of people just finding themselves and seeing themselves in it. So the heart has been like a safe space for people to grow. It's been I think the heart has wanted to be a representation of what we once were. So it's a reminder of who we can still be, you know, together. And You know, that's that's beautiful. That's amazing to me.
The legacy that I want to have of mine is family, art, and love. Like that's just something I want kids even around. Like
As we cultivate a space of love, humans gather.
For me, the spirit of the heart is a jam. It feels like a jam. And to me, like a jam is like it's moving, yet there's moments of stillness. It's introspective, it's cooperative, it's dynamic, it's fun. It's deep and there's challenges. All those things are in a jam, in a musical jam. So I tend to think this is kind of like we're playing together, we're listening, and we're growing, and we're building. Just like music.
It's like, you can't policy your way out of this, you know? It really comes by the developing of the heart, you know?
So stuff can be history, but I don't want it to be history. We want to keep it continuing on. So I see that in the heart and I want that to continue on. So I'm gonna continue on with that.
Is there any last thing that you want to say?
Yeah, I'm thankful to hear, like the dialogues that happen at this conference, you know what I mean? And I'm thankful and excited to see like what are the connections that can be made, you know what I mean? And the work that's happening in other places. I'm just thoroughly convinced that like different like amazing things are like happening globally. And now we're kind of finding each other, you know what I mean? And that's why I think these conferences are so important, because like, oh, y'all doing that here? What are we doing over here? What? Or, how can we get down together or share some information or resources or learning best practices or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And so it just feels like it's that time to keep collaborating and to keep pressing forward and to know that we are the ones we've been waiting for, and it's like, if we don't do it, then who's gonna do it? And if not now, then when? King talks about that fierce urgency of now, you know what I mean? And so like I just can't wait anymore, you know what I mean? It's like I can't wait for permission. I can't wait for like there's things inside that are bubbling that we gotta get out, Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Peace.